What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Monday episode on BRANZ TV. My name is Zach, and today we're going to be playing some Battlerite. Now, instead of just recording some gameplay and giving you guys a generic upload with some music over the top, I decided I'm going to give you guys some analysis on one of the high-ranked games that I played earlier today on my Smurf. So without further ado, let's just hop right into this. Like I said, I'm on my Smurf, which is, I think he is low diamond, and I'm playing with a champion, another champion, or he's a champion and another high diamond player. So I'm the lowest rank out of all these guys. First off, you saw me pick, let me pause this quick, you saw me pick Shield Bash for my first Battlerite. Now, there's a couple options you can do with BAKKO. This is probably, I'd say 75% chosen as the first Battlerite. It's like, you pretty much always want to pick this one. I sometimes go the right mouse button just to get some free poke off, some extra damage with my right mouse, but this is just 100% better. It weakens and it gives you pretty much 2 E's. And my partner picked, he's obviously going to go Q build because that's just the best Pestilence build out there. And so let me skip ahead a little bit. So right off the bat, like right here, right at the start of the game, I'm just going to come out here and just start throwing axes. I just want to see, we're playing against they have no healer on their team, so it's 2 DPS versus a healer and a DPS pretty much. So I'm just trying to poke down as much as I can because any damage that I do to them is going to stick, unless Rook, obviously, he'll heal it back up a little bit, but any damage that I do will stick. And now I see Rook, he's channeling charge. I don't know at this point if it's going to be a cancel or not, so I'm just going to Q right off the bat. I made the mistake of queuing back into Rook because I thought that he wouldn't counter, or the counter would go away, but it obviously didn't, so I proc the counter and I'm going to take a decent amount of damage. I try to space away, but he plays it really well and he right mouse buttons my space. And so right now I'm in a pretty bad spot, so I'm just trying to get away right now. That rock just saved me. I do the weaken on him and I proc the counter again. He again right clicks my space, and this is, it takes some time to gauge your opponent, but if I know that he's going to start right clicking all my spaces, I have to make sure that that's another cooldown that I manage in my head and make sure that he doesn't have his right mouse when I'm about to space. He baits out my counter, but I get the good weaken onto Ashka before he can land a lot of right mouses. Right there, that was an EX space, and the EX space, let me rewind it a little bit, the EX space on BAKKO is an in-cap, and so I was hoping that I could in-cap the Ashka just to get some free damage off, because he's right next to this wall, and if I in-cap him, it's pretty much a ton of damage. He's like an E into the wall and then get a free auto off on him too. But he spaces my in-cap right there. I bait the counter, but Hess takes the full Ashka ult. And so at this point, we're actually sitting pretty well. Like we're a little low on health, but we're sitting pretty well. They're pretty low, and we're reverting back to mid-orb. That right there was a miss shield, I think. Let me rewind quick. So we're going back. Yeah, so the shield didn't hit Pest. He takes the full space from Rook. I see Ashka E right there, but there's nothing I can do because Pest is taking so much damage, so I have to just kite back and try and protect him as best I can. I get the E into the wall. Almost every single time I'm playing BAKKO and I see someone against the wall, I almost immediately will always E them into the wall. There's like no reason not to. It's a risk because they might have a cooldown, but it's just a habit. That was a good dodge by the Q right there. Like I said, I knew that he was trying to time up a lot of my moves, and so I proc the counter, but Pest takes a ton of damage. So really the only thing that he can do right now is burst heal with his R and the Queen. So he's pretty much in panic mode. I'm just trying to peel as much as I can for him, give him my shield, and just keep them off of him as best I can. Ashka's taking a lot of poke from me, and then like I said, if they're against the wall, I get the weaken on him not only for the +8 damage, and then I go into an E against the wall and he pets me, but this is pretty much GG for Ashka. There's nothing that he can do to heal up unless he uses his EX, but he doesn't, and we get the kill on him. So now it's just pretty much how well can I protect Pestilence against this Rook. We get the counter out, I weaken to try and reduce the damage, I shield him, but as you're going to see here shortly, there's not much really I can do because the rock hits me out of the way, and he gets right-clicked right here. I get the stun, which is good, and the weaken, and the E into the wall, so now I'm just banging on him as much as I can. I see the energy. I have to definitely go back for that before this arena closes in. I see him right click here, which is really big, and I know that he countered right there. So weaken. I'm trying to E him back just to kind of separate myself from him while also poking him down. So he's snared. I'm just going to turn back and get all the orbs that I can. When you're in a 1v1 like this, especially against Rook, you want to starve your opponent as best you can, and you definitely want to play this mid orb. Now, if you noticed, he rocked the orb back towards him. I was coming up this way, so it was pretty much free for me to... This is a good barrier right here. He can't come at me. He can't do anything against me. Right now, it's just a battle for the orb. And right now, you need to pay attention for... when you're battling orb in a 1v1, you need to pay attention even closer to the math behind the damage of your skills. I know that I'm going to do 16 with the right click, and then my space does 22. There's really nothing that Rook can do after Eing, and he doesn't really have any abilities right now to take this orb from me, and I know that the 22 damage that I'm going to do on my space is more than enough to take this orb, and a little bit of damage because he right clicked it. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure Rook will only do 16 damage on a right click, so he would have needed an auto and the right click. I got the space, which was 22, to take it perfectly. And right now, he right clicks, so he has nothing to really escape my ult, and it's a pretty much free 1v1. Okay, and now we're at the start of round 2. Round 2, almost 100% of the time, I'd say probably 99% of the time, I'm taking this Battlerite right here. It gives you pretty much an empowered auto after you space, so you get plus 10 damage on the next hit. Let me just fast forward a little bit to the round start. Okay, and same as last round, same as every round, you get out to the middle, and I'm just trying to poke down as much as I can with my axes. Get a nice one on Ashka. That damage is going to stick. Pest almost hits that right mouse button, but he takes the space from Rook instead. This is actually really bad because Pest took a ton of damage and he blew cooldowns right there. So now Rook pretty much has free reign on this guy. I'm just trying to dish out as much as I can on Ashka. That was a good fear, but it was just out of range of my space. But he's against the wall, so like I said, I'm always going to E them into the wall. And then I also have the empowered auto, which I hit, but I get Pet. And Pest has literally nothing because he was getting dick dove by that Rook, and now he has to space, but they're just gonna gang up on him because he's pretty far from me now. I thought Rook was gonna space the orb and I was gonna right click it for the kill on it, but he spaces me instead and pretty much secures it for his team. Right clicks my Q and then counters immediately after, and I'm taking a ton of damage. I have a good shield right now, but it's pretty much useless because I'm not taking any damage. And Ashka is about to ult Pestilus, who's also on the Q right here, so he's going to take a ton of damage. And I'm just, right there, I'm literally just trying to space on him and just try and protect him as best I can, but that doesn't work out, and this one's pretty much over. Right now, all I'm trying to do is just kind of fuck around, waste some time, have some fun, you know? But yeah, that round we played really poorly. Rook was just all over Pestilus, and they got the free win. Alright guys, for round 3, I'm 100% of the time always taking Bravery. It's just too good not to. Very, very, very rarely will I take this Q1, which is, unless I need to like really move around and get in someone's face, I'll take this, but this is just so much better. It reduces the damage taken by yourself and your ally by 33% if they're in the radius of my space. This one's good if you're just trying to fuck around and meme, but it really doesn't have very much play in ranked. And so I'm always going to take that one. Let me fast forward here to the start of the round. And as always, we're in the middle trying to just poke down as much as we can. Kind of baiting out whatever we can here. Hopefully Rook will space. I get the good right click on Ashka. Rook is just trying to space into me trying to bait my counter. But he spaces and misses, so I just immediately turn on him. Look at how far Ashka is. This is just as much damage as I can dish out right now is free. We get the weaken, and I'm just trying to dish out as much as I can. I have to space that right there. There's no, I literally have to. So right now I'm trying to get orb. Ashka preemptively Qs on top of it. I only do 22 like I said, and there's really no way that I can get this because he's already channeling an auto and he has the Q underneath, so this is pretty much theirs. I see Rook counter, but right now I'm just trying to peel but also trying to do damage. Ashka, like I said, E into the wall always, but he's a little cut out, and has got a really good fear on the Rook, so now I'm just going to try and do as much as I can to this Ashka. He's infested onto me, so he's safe, and we just kind of reset here. Ashka E's, I miss the Q, and he ults. Right now I'm just trying to space onto my teammate because I need to reduce that damage. This is why I get that damage reduction one. He's in a 2v1 pretty much, so I space onto him. He spaces out of it, and he's kind of running away right now. This is not really looking good. He's 1v2. He honestly should have just stayed closer to me, but there's nothing I can really do. I'm in a 1v2. There's nothing I can do here. This is basically over against people of this caliber, but I'm just going to try and play this one out because I do have a lot of health, and I also have almost, now I have a full ult. So I ult the Rook, immediately combo with the E, and right now I'm just trying to mess around. Rook is taking a lot of damage though, so if I had maybe a little bit more health and a little bit more energy, I could have actually pulled this one off. Right there, this is a good teaching moment, but let me put this in slow-mo here. Right there, I space the Rook, so he takes 22 and then 19 for my auto, but watch right here, he takes the right click, but he's gonna counter, I'm gonna shield, and right here, I swing my mouse behind me to flick away that auto so it doesn't hit Rook and not proc his counter. So he just wasted his counter, and I know that, so I'm just going to unload as much damage as I can onto him. Ashka misses the E, misses the E. I E into the wall. I'm in capped, and Rook has to kind of get away here, but I think I do pick up the kill on him just out of luck on a really good right click right here. Yeah. So that kills Rook, but like I said, I'm really low. There's nothing I can really do against this. And I jump into the Q of Ashka for the round loss. Alright guys, so for this round, I'm almost always going to go Inspiration. It gives you plus 25% max energy, but you also get 10% more for each ability. Sometimes you can go the middle one if you're just trying to poke and you need to play really passive, but I'd say almost always you want to go Inspiration. So let me just fast forward here. Again, we're just going to come to the mid, and I'm just going to try and poke as much as I can. Rook's just trying to bait out my Qs. I'm just going to keep poking. He takes the damage, but he spaces in, and I know that he doesn't have space after that. So I'm just going to get really aggressive here, and I miss everything. Proc the counter, but I can just E back to my teammate. I have no cooldowns here, so I have to play very, very safe until my Q comes back up, which it does, and I get the stun. He's weakened, so I'm not really worried about the damage that he's going to do. Pest got a really good fear right there and brought Ashka straight against this wall, which is prime for BAKKO. My E's on a little cooldown, 0.2, so I have to wait a little bit. I try to E, but he spaces out of it. Pest infests onto Ashka just to get back and get the orbs, which is good, but we're a little split here. And right, like I said earlier in the 1v1, Rook counters, but you need to know how much damage that you can do. I know that I'm easily going to get this orb. He's countered. There's nothing that he can do damage-wise, so it's pretty much a free orb for my team, and he has no counter. So right here, we get, this is beautiful, like this is perfect. He's got, Ashka's going to take the damage from my space, the queen is on him, and it's about to pop. So I incap, but I really mess up here. Pest moved his queen back a little bit, and I E'd this way. If I would have E'd this way, a little bit more towards the wall, I think we could have pulled this off and got the explosion and the damage, but he was incapped and I was too fast and I E'd this way, and we didn't get the full damage. He still took the 19 for my empowered auto, but it could have been a lot prettier. But notice how he spaces away and he goes up here to get the orbs, and now it's pretty much a 1v2 against this Rook after I reflect this from Ashka. So he needs to go up there and get those orbs. I don't know if the health was up, I don't think it was, but he's going to go back, and it's pretty much a 2v1 like I said. Pest gets the good fear off and the damage, and I try and swing the auto to not hit the counter. Sometimes if they're a little bit closer to the way that you're swinging, you'll swing into them, which I did here. Proc the counter, but he's too far from Pest to do any damage, so it doesn't really matter, unless he would have turned towards me, which he doesn't. but I now have full ult. And so I see Ashka space in. It's kind of a risky ult, and most of the time Ashkas can E. If he would have E'd towards the side here, he would have been safe, but he E'd straight into the path of my ult, and I kind of just took him for a ride here. And we get the free kill. So now it's a 2v1, but as always in a 2v1 against Rook, you need to play very safe because Rook is actually very good at 2v1ing. So I'm just trying to starve him, take as much orbs as I can, get the mid orb. I space it just to be safe, and now we just need to burst him down and do as much damage as we can. He can heal, but he takes way too much poke. It's not even worth it for him to... We're literally almost at full health right now, so it's pointless for him to waste his time. He just goes, and we all go out here and have a party. Poor Rook, though. He tries to counter. I can't counter that damage, silly. And we just pretty much get the free round. Alright guys, and that will bring us to the 5th and final round. This is a very good game between both really good teams. It's a 2-2, so this one is going to go the distance. We're in the final round, so whatever happens, whoever gets this last round wins this one. Between these two Battlerites, though, on BAKKO, I'm pretty much always going to take the increased stun duration. Sometimes I will go the heal, or the shield, which is good if you really need it, but most of the time this is a lot better because if you hit the stun, it increases the stun duration. And so you can either E into the wall again for more damage, or it sets you up for a space. And so I'm going to take the control one for the increased stun duration. So let me fast forward here to the start of the round. Right now I'm just trying to poke and do as much damage as I can. Again, they have no healer, so any damage that I do will stick. Rook misses the E. He's trying to bait my skills. I throw the right click, but he's going to take this space to my face. I immediately counter, and I'm not really worried about the damage that Ashka's going to do because he has weaken on him after my Q. So I get a little aggressive, I think overly aggressive. I waste my space and he spaces out of it. Kind of a 1-for-1 trade, but I'm again 1v1 against this Rook. So I see Pest hit that right click on the orb here, and instead of doing anything against my enemies, I immediately turn towards the orb, just trying to get that bursted down to secure that energy and that health. Which we did. Pest pops the counter here, which is okay, not the best, but he's infested, so he's not going to do that much damage. Now I'm incapped. Rook is going to throw this rock behind me a little bit. It's going to land here, so it's going to push me this way into Rook. And I know that he really, really, really wants to space onto me. If anytime you're incapped from a Rook, you're going to get hit with the rock space combo, so, or the rock right mouse button combo. So I know that he's going to bounce back and do one of those two. So I'm gonna be in his face, so watch this. I hear the scream from the space, so I know it's a space. This is gonna bounce me into him, but look at how much time I have to react. This little space right here, this amount of incap is how much time I have to react. So my Q is up at this point, so I'm gonna just mash my Q. I'm just slamming it on my keyboard, just hoping that when I get out of this incap, it's gonna trigger the counter, and it does perfectly. So I Q him, he's stunned, and I don't take that extra damage from the space. So right now I'm just gonna throw out my weaken, hit Ashka with it, which is good, but I'm taking a ton of damage, more than I need to. I shield late here, it's not really absorbing anything, so I just immediately space away and try and get away from the Rook. Ashka and I are in a 1v1. He's about to pet me, which is good, but I also have the space from Rook coming in. Try and reflect, but it doesn't really work, and I just need to get out of there. I'm taking way too much damage in a 1v2, and my Pest is nowhere near me, so we just turn, we try for orb. It's a little far out. Pest gets it, thankfully, and it gives me full ult, which is really good here, but I'm still pretty low, and so I need to play this a little bit safer than I normally do. Kind of just stick by my healer. Tried for the incap there, missed, which is okay, because Pest got the fear off, and I'm not going to take that much damage here, but again, I mistimed my Q. Get a full space from Rook, he's berserk, so I'm going to take a lot of damage here. Pest threw the Q down, which was really good because he has the invuln heal, so when Rook hits that, it's going to heal. And he just knocks us away. This is okay for us, but we're still kind of, I'm very low. Pest would have healed me full here, but he misses that right click. So I'm just kind of, I'm playing very safe. Rook's trying to bait out my stuff, but he spaces onto the Pest, which is down here, and he misses the space. I have full energy right here, so I see the Ashka, and I go for something super risky here, and I space on him with the EX for the incap. And I get it, and this is where the game changes right here. So I see that he's in cap, I see the wall right here, and I have the bonus damage on my axe. The in cap lasts for a pretty decent amount of time. Once you get used to how long it lasts for, you can time up plays like this, but I walk around the Ashka. I go right behind him to a point where I know that I can E him into the wall. Right there, Pest timed it perfectly to hit his right mouse button without un-incapping the Ashka, and so we E him into the wall for the plus 16 damage, plus right mouse button from Pest, and the auto from me. So Ashka is super low here. I probably could have killed him with that axe, but I missed it, and so we just need to go back to playing very safe. I'm going to take a ton of damage here. This almost threw the game right here, me taking all this damage, but luckily we pull it off. Ashka's super low. Pest throws down the heal, which is good, and I space right here, and Pest hits the right click, and we pretty much get this kill secured onto Ashka. Now I'm pretty low here, but I still need to kite away and just try and get either orbs or have my Pest heal me up, so I'm just playing very safe. He infests onto me. I take this damage, which is okay, because I Q a little late and he spaces into my Q. So I'm right now, I hit the counter, but he has full ult, so I'm not really scared that much of the damage that I'm going to take, and I have full ult. So right now a shield, and I'm just playing safe, trying to starve out Rook, and hopefully go for orb here. Yep. And we secure that, and I get back to full ult. We're a little split, and he's pretty healthy. Rook's actually really good in a 1v2, like I said, and so I need to play this pretty safe from here on out. I see him counter, and if you see a Rook counter, it's pretty much guaranteed ult. It's very hard for Rook to counter and then cancel it immediately, so if he does that, it's pretty much a free ult. That was a lot of damage right there. I'm just playing safe, so I don't really do anything there. Wait for my cooldowns, get the weaken and the E, and then Pest gets the fear, and this is pretty much over. He knows it's over. We're just going to do as much damage as we can to him. He just runs away, and I think he eventually runs out into the abyss and kills himself. Anyways, very good game between both teams. This was one of the hardest games I think I've played. I hit a lot of counters during it. I don't recommend doing that against Rook. It's hard to play safe against Rook, but because he's always in your face, and a good Rook will make you hit the counter, which he did. He was a very good Rook, and I did hit a lot of counters, but we ended up pulling out the win. 4-1 orb control, and that was a very good game. Alright guys, that is going to do it for this episode, first episode of Battlerite Analysis. Let me know what you guys think. This was kind of on the fly, and I probably should have started with a game that was a little easier, maybe like a 3-0 against some like low platinums or something, but I went big, go big or go home, and I decided to record a very high level gameplay. Like I said, these guys were high diamond and champion level. This Smurf is currently low diamond, I think, and so I was playing up against a lot better people, so why not give you guys some prime content, some prime players to learn from, and I hope I gave you guys some good tips and tricks, especially on BAKKO. And so with all that said, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this Monday's episode. Look forward to tomorrow's episode, which should be a team game. If not, you'll see some other content creators like Nico or Bobby and Robert uploading later in the week. I hope you guys enjoy this one. Tune in next time. I'll see you next Monday on BRANZ TV.